You're listening to Wanna Coffee with Kai Alicia
and Adriana,
talking
random,
sensible
shit.
Tomorrow we have the Trump versus Biden debate. This will be the first debate against these two, against the candidate.
This is the showdown that everyone waiting for. God,
waiting for it, right? I can't help but be nervous about this. I'm so nervous about this, and I need to relinquish control because I am really acting like I somehow control the situation. But God, I'm so nervous for Biden, for the world, for America. I'm hoping that Biden just doesn't mess this up, and we don't have a repeat of what we had with Hillary.
Oh God, you know, okay, like as an outsider again, you know, it is virtually impossible to screw this up. You know, like the guy. Okay, 2,000 people, 200,000 people have died now, right?
Mm.
He has his taxes, all the corruption he has done. Like the guy could he could be like put in jail now and have so many things to answer for. If Biden cannot put that, into wars and attacks, and hey, to be accountable for this, and I'm going to ask you, I'm going to battle you and argue you in all of this. God, no, I don't know. Like,
I mean,
how do you think Trump is going to defend himself?
I don't think he is. He did. I mean, like, do you remember in the debates with Hillary, she literally exposed him for having not paid any taxes and saying that they had no record of him paying any taxes. And he did not deny that. He literally said, I'm a smart businessman.
He won't just give a fuck, right?
He literally does not care. And I think for the American people, a percentage of them of which are now really aggressive, they appreciate that to a degree, and they are willing to defend him. I feel like he is like he's not like the what do you call it? The antagonist, but he's kind of like this anti-hero type of a thing. He's a hero, but just like the hero you wouldn't expect or something. And like there's this percentage of people that see him this way. And then there's this and I feel like that percentage of people are like, just trash. I don't know what else to say about that group of people. But then there's another percentage of these people who, are these diehard Republican conservatives who do not want to relinquish power, because what he's been able to do is get serious conservatives, serious Republicans in seats, and they don't want to relinquish power. They're like, we don't even care who is the figurehead. We just want to make sure that we are always in power. We get what we need. We don't turn into a socialist country. We don't have Medicare for all. We don't have health care for all. The 1% stays the 1%. We don't pay a lot of taxes. So I feel that Trump could literally say anything and still win. I still feel he has a very strong chance at looking like a complete idiot and still winning, because he did last time.
So yeah, I just feel he could still win this.
But it's so frustrating for the average thinking human being to make sense of all of this, because no, this this could happen in history, or let alone like another country, and the candidate will win. Like the guy, like he knows, like he's a criminal, and he will have to be accountable someday, and to be just this, like, being trying to be this type of hero and this type of somehow innocent figure, because everything like in his mind, everything he does is right. He's not doing anything wrong in theory, but now I can just not pinpoint him. Like now with all this claims that they say that he said that he was aware of COVID being an actual threat to people, and he decided that he wouldn't care about that. He wouldn't do anything about that, and he knew that it was dangerous for people, and he didn't do anything. So I don't know. Like, does the guy mean? Fuck, he's a gaslighter. Like, you don't have to say like, okay, he's really smart and he knows and he's just being deceiving, or he just doesn't know, or he's just not giving a fuck and he's gaslighting all humanity.
Yeah, he really is. I honestly think he does not care. I'm not sure he even knows a lot of things most of the time. I just don't think he cares. I think his whole thing is to get power by any means necessary, almost. I mean, it's kind of interesting to me to know about his no alcohol thing. You've heard about this?
Oh yeah, that he doesn't drink.
I think that's so interesting that he's so almost militant about not having a sip of alcohol and never having smoked any cigarettes or never having smoked or something like that. It's unbelievable, but it also makes sense because I feel like all those type of people who have like a serious power trip have some kind of OCD thing like that.
Like Hitler?
Where they're just,
yeah.
Yes, correct. Like where it's just some kind of like, okay, it's not that it's so weird, that he doesn't drink or he doesn't smoke or that he's never done that, but that he doesn't do those things, but makes such a big deal out of the fact that he doesn't do those things. And he's almost kind of militant about it. And it's the stuff that he does, that he seems to have this kind of carefree attitude about, which are like significant issues, like, for example, not telling the American public early when it happened, when COVID happened, and not warning us ahead of time and figuring out a plan to fucking save us is unbelievable, because he knew about it.
And people, they're just letting it happen. Like, God, I will say in some other time, I will say Americans will have, will be asking for his head. 200,000 people, like, that's inconceivable.
It is.
And it's just happening.
What's strange is, like, it is just happening, but I feel like we've established this kind of abuser-victim relationship where America, in like in one regard, is acting like this victim of a narcissistic relationship, where they just continue to think that their narcissist abuser is not all that bad, or we make sense of his behavior and we're like, no, he meant, or no, it's not actually like that, he's just joking, or he's just, we have an excuse for everything that he does. Like these conservatives, or these people who don't want to, quote, vote for Biden. I don't understand that. Or even the people who are just these, like, who I like to call just trash,
You know,
um,
it looks like,
mhm.
again, from an outside point of view, it looks like the American people, they have like a hurt ego now. And sometimes, uh, Americans, they take pride on, liberty and being the best in the world. And that means government and everything that happens in the countries. It happens in the best way possible. So now I think that with all the chaos that this guy has provoked, people, they just, like you say, they just try to make sense and say, like, yeah, I'm going to justify it and say, like, that's part of the system, but that's okay. This is supposed to happen, like you say, that victimization, and try to justify what he's doing, and maybe that's a way to cope and to with dealing with the fact that at the end the system was not perfect, and maybe it was like a crystal ball, like it looked nice, but it was fragile.
Mm-hmm. But you're like, I guess that's a really positive way of looking at the American people. I just don't think that the average American is that. I sound so negative, but I don't think the average American is that clued in. Because I think,
because I've seen that with the Democrats, like, Trump can make whatever thing he wants, and they just say, like, and you have to vote, and that's why vote now. And, having a trust in the system, and still, like, telling the people that this is how it works, and this too shall pass, and but you have to believe in the system, and do things the way they have to be done. But at the same time, I think that they must be aware that, say, Obama, Hillary, and all of the leaders, there is something wrong going on, and this is not sustainable. Like,
oh yeah, I think the leaders definitely know. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I think the leaders definitely know. I just don't think the general public, American people are that on average. I think that, like, I think most of America just watches television. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's more, they're not going to, like, go out and research their own information. And if they research their own information anyway, a lot of that shit is just slanted because they're getting it off of Facebook.
Yeah.
So,
Facebook, the new opium for the masses.
Exactly. So yeah, I just kind of feel like we're doomed. He said, he's not even, if he loses, he didn't say whether or not he was going to bow out gracefully. And he just is saying shit like, well, we'll see. I mean, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. This isn't like, WWF. This is like real life. And people are like, the racists in America right now are showing the fuck out because their leader, Trump, is basically allowed to, is saying that it's permissible.
Exactly.
So this kind of crazy behavior outside of racism, just crazy outlandish quote alternative facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even believe that's a thing. That's a thing now. Alternative facts, and people being smarter than, our medical professionals. People being smart, average people being smarter than their medical professionals. I am so sick of anybody trying to say or hearing about all these different Americans, and even here in Australia, hearing about these anti-maskers who just want to parade around and talk about their rights and how like breathing in, you know, oh God, breathing in their own, what is it? Carbon, not carbon monoxide. What do you call it? The air that you breathe out.
Dioxide? Yeah.
Thank you. You know, like that it's going to make them sick, and you know, and people trying to say like you know, when they go into stores that only allow allow masked people in, like, you know, you can't serve, you have to serve me under this judicial you know, mandate and blah blah blah. And it's just like,
no, like
I like, those people need to shut that's that percentage that I'm talking about that will forever continue to vote for Trump, that trash percentage, which is not necessarily Republican and not necessarily conservative. They're just idiots. They're just idiots.
And like, before Facebook, before social media, like, idiots, they were more quiet. And like you say, this guy, the biggest one, it gives them permission to, you know, be an idiot, enjoy it. And you see the other ones that maybe they weren't idiot, or maybe they haven't like about taking an instance, like an intelligent one or idiot one. They just feel endorsed and say like, yeah, if this guy can be an idiot, I agree with him. This is the easiest way, or this is much better for me, and they just reproduce, you know.
Honestly. And I think it has to do with, it's like, not everybody, that this is the reason why we vote in particular people to lead and govern, is because not everyone has the intellectual capacity nor the ability to govern or to take a leadership position. And that's why we vote in people, or we ask people to go into these positions. But now everybody thinks that they're intelligent, because we've got an idiot now in office who just thinks he's intelligent. And not only does he think that, he had people who voted him in, and then he was able to manipulate the system to make it work for him to actually get the highest power in office. So it's like, so now everybody's just thinking they're equipped, and everybody's just thinking like they can do this shit. And it's like,
it's absurd.
But no, this is unbelievable. Like, my friend of whom I literally can't be friends with her anymore. And I feel like I've had so many of these friendships that have just like fallen out over 2020, over this period. But you know, my friend who I had in college, she just writes, she lives in Iowa, and she's a psychology major. She was so thoughtful, so reasoned, and so sound, but her politics are just ass backwards. And just because she's a mother, and just because she has some kids, and just because she's, you know, living in Iowa, and raising them, she feels like she knows, she knows, or at least like is sound enough to say we shouldn't be doing what the rest of the world, not even the Western world, what the rest of the world is taking on board.
And you know,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and the thing is that I reckon now people, and again, I hate social media. People used to, like, you know, someone like your friend, someone that is educated, someone that you know, has some different level of education, so she's supposed to know more. And sometimes before, you know, you used to do you know, your research. You try and think like, okay, these are my political points of view, these are my this is what I think about several issues. And you used to do your research to learn about it, and somehow to find something different and say, oh, okay, this is a different point of view. And yes, okay, now I have enough choices in order for me to have a valid point of view. But now with social media, I think that everyone is just looking for things that agree with them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that maybe perhaps your friend and everyone, I will say, will look for something and it's like, okay, I found that piece of information that tells me that I'm right, no matter what I think. So we are never exposed to something different, and somehow the way like all the issues, all important issues, are so polarizing right now that whatever that you see that is, you know, saying something with another point of view is not gray now, is super black, and you see that, okay, that's bad. It's not different. Not only is different, it's bad. That doesn't help us, I think.
Yeah.
So question, how do you think Biden could screw it up tomorrow?
By giving in to all of his low life like rebuttals and like under the belt attacks, or like him bullying or picking on him. And because they come from the same type of same generation or the same era, what am I saying?
Well,
but you know what I mean, like, you know, because they're
Yeah.
both old basically. They kind of have that whole like, I could do, you know, like that like, well, I could do 500 more push-ups than you could, and well, let's see about that kind of, you know what I mean? And that young, like, let's put our physical abilities to the test type of shit. I feel like it could just be a stupid competition like that, where they're just doing a bunch of yo mama jokes, and and if it gets to that, then it's over.
Oh God, no. I think he looks like the type of guy that is going to be a little bit passive. That Trump is going to make so many jokes and stupid remarks, and he's going to be like, you know?
Yeah, but do you remember? Oh my God. Like, the thing with Biden is he doesn't back away from a fight. So like, if you threaten him, he'll threaten you right back. He was on this talk show, this famous black radio talk show, and they're like, hey Biden, before you go, one last thing before you go, why should black voters vote for you? And he goes, if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
Oh God, that's not. Oh boy.
And it was like, you know, and it was obvious, like, he felt threatened by that, you know what I mean, by that statement. He felt challenged by that statement, and so he challenged right back with a like, well, how about that? How about that shit? And he's like he's known to do that. Like, in the various Democratic debates, he would go back and forth with a number of them. A number. Now I can't, at the top of my head, I can't really remember. I think it was another. It might have been another older gentleman that he would go back and forth with, or it might have been the Texas guy, young Texas guy that he better something, whatever, that he would go back and forth with, and just like try to, especially if the Texas guy, especially if they would dig him into a hole. Oh God, then he would just try and diss him out, you know. And
I just hope, pray that Obama is coaching him.
Yeah.
You know, we need someone like with the eloquence and gravitas that Obama has.
But Obama had a team too, you know, who were very strategic and very thoughtful. I mean, like, you know, they specifically said, like, you can't get angry up there when you debate for, you know, real reasons. And it made so much sense. You know, everything was very tactful and thoughtful in the way that they worked that campaign, and the way that they worked his presidency.
Yeah, and it was a different candidate, I guess.
That's it. It was unique to him, you know? I just don't know. I don't really know what will work in defeating Trump, because there's so much shit. He should have already been like removed from office.
Yes.
Like there's so much shit he did that he should have been removed. He's like, he should be in prison right now. And so the fact that we're still talking about him like he's president is just like wild to me, because he is still president, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on again?
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. No, I think with him, anyone that will debate with Trump, I think is the proverbial, you know, don't argue, don't mess with pigs because you're going to get dirty anyways.
Thanks for listening. We want to know what you think.
Send us your comments and follow us on Twitter and Facebook
at #WannaCoffeePod.